And I know that we have up first a presentation from HTID with David Wells and Brooke Ross. I kind of understand, Dave, you're going to lead off on that. So, and I also want to welcome, of course, all the city council people. I see Marilyn, I see Evelyn and Ariel and David out there. So thank you for attending as well. David, what have you got?
Awesome. Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. For those that I don't know, I'm David Wells, and I work with JNS Next. We are a specialty marketing and advertising agency for hospitality and tourism. And I used to live in Sonoma for about 10 years and would frequent Healdsburg, but moved to Southern California a couple of years ago. But happy to be working with Brooke and the team at HTID for almost a year. I believe we started in June of last year. So coming up on a year of working with the team, and it's been great to work with the board members and the hoteliers, and even with Talia and Jessica and team at the chamber. So I'm going to share my screen and just go over a quick Q1 2022 presentation that we went over with the board a couple of weeks ago, and talk a little bit about what we have upcoming for you guys. So all right, you guys can see this all right? Okay. Just a quick overview of some of the advertising that we were doing. And our goal is always to drive traffic to the website and to hotel bookings through a variety of tactics. We utilize Google search results and search engine marketing, being very conscious of what the hotels are doing on their own, so that we're not competing against each other. So really working collaboratively with their directors of sales on those efforts. We also have some video ads running in YouTube, and we kind of list just a variety of media options here. We get bonus some print ads in like the San Francisco Gate, but really focusing on luxury, tourism, food, outdoor adventure publications, and media content. So in Q1 of 2022, we served over 14.5 million impressions. And we're targeting those kind of lower funnel consumers of people that are ready to book their vacation. And the demand right now, as I'm sure a lot of you know, is really high for travel coming out of COVID. And people looking for, reconnecting and unique experiences and, getting back out there and spending some of the dollars that they were able to save up over the past 18 months. We're targeting San Francisco Bay Area. We see a lot of travelers coming either from when they're on their trips from outside, or people coming from that area as well that live there, as well as Sacramento, Los Angeles, and Orange County. And then we've also expanded into some of our key fly markets to STS, including Seattle, Portland, Denver, Phoenix, and then some of our longer haul markets with New York, Dallas, Houston, Austin, and DC. So really seeing the pickup in all of these markets of interest and demand to Healdsburg. And then we also run a lot of content programs. Obviously, Healdsburg has a great story to tell, and highlighting a lot of our chefs and winemakers and hotel owners and things like that has been really successful through a program called Nativo, which allows us to tap into direct publishers like Condé Nast Traveler, Lonely Planet, Forbes, even SF Gate and things like that. And then we also have a robust meetings campaign to really bring back those midweek travelers, group business, incentive-based trips, corporate retreats, those sort of things to help drive demand in those need periods as well. Social media remains a strong platform for us, continuing to grow our followers in each Facebook and Instagram. But what we really focus on is the engagement and the total impressions that we're able to serve. So even as you can see on Facebook and Instagram, we're up to about 1,500 followers on Facebook and a little over 3,000 on Instagram, but our reach is over 1 million on each platform. So really focusing to, hit people that have shown an interest in wine country and really engaging in our content. You can see some of our feed posts here of different experiences, getting over 135,000 impressions on each of those posts has been really great. A lot of people commenting and sharing things and You can save things on Instagram now into different like idea boards and pins. So we really had a high level engagement over the past 3 months. Speaking of meetings, so some of the platforms that we use is North Star Meetings Group, running content stories, some banner ads, as well as some custom email blasts where we get like a profile highlight talking about, planning your meeting in Healdsburg. We have some dedicated email blasts. Our campaign right now is called That's Healdsburg Successful. That's more of the group meeting side, whereas the leisure side is That's Healdsburg Happy. We also did a really successful phone call campaign where we had our team train people to make phone calls on our behalf and get that interest from groups that were planning their trips. And what we were able to do is get a weekly report of the interest from meeting planners to say, hey, I'm going to book a group of 20 in November of this next year. And this is what I'm looking for. And Brooke and team were able to disseminate those leads out to the different hotel partners for the follow-up and booking conversions. Just wanted to share a little bit about our Google Analytics in terms of the website. All of our media is driving traffic to there. So compared to the previous period, which was Q4 of 2021, we've increased our users by 67%. The time on site has increased by 25%, and the page views have increased by 75%. So, seeing that demand come up this spring has been really great. You can see a couple of the spikes here in traffic. Those were email inclusions with Sunset Magazine, where they included our message and a link to our website there as well. We track bookings for hotels through a platform called Adara, which allows us to put pixels on all of our digital media to track and see what's working and what's not. So this really allows us to evaluate, especially as we head into year 2, what media makes sense for us to place advertising in and where it makes sense. So this is Q1. You can see we confirmed 670 hotel bookings, as well as some hotel revenue generated there. And the platform really dives deep into our traveler profiles. So we understand where they're coming from, where else they're searching for hotels, where else they booked, how many people were in their groups, what the ADR was that they confirmed. And there's a 60-day look back window. So actually the Q1 numbers will continue to grow over the next 30 days. So once that 60-day window is done, then that dashboard will be complete. So we update these for the TID every quarter once we have those numbers as well. So what's kind of upcoming? We're really, really excited about the upcoming website launch, which I'll show you in just a minute. But we're going to be continuing the leisure and meetings campaigns. We are planning to get some new content in terms of photo and video, and working with some of the hotel partners on planning out that shoot so we can have fresh content for social and on the website. We're working with the chamber on an integration with them in terms of branding, content, website as well, to make sure that we are all speaking with one unified voice. And then we're also continuing to expand our geographic locations that we are targeting with our advertising as well. And you can see the list of media here that is coming up. We're doing a lot of partnerships and looking at things with Visit California so that we can amplify our voice with what they are doing. They have a much larger budget and larger reach than we do. So anytime that we can, come under their fold and be included in their efforts is great for everybody. And then also in the meeting side, we do some advertising on LinkedIn to target meeting planners again. Putting out some native content, so really making sure we're telling the right story. There's such a great story to tell with even from the sustainability side and things that groups can do that, give back to the community has been a really interesting trend for meetings that are booking coming up. I think that's it for that portion, but I want to share with you guys. So you'll see here, this is a staging site. This is not yet live, but this will be the new Stay Healdsburg look and feel. This background image that you see here will be video content that will roll through, but you know, we're really excited about the opportunities that we have. We're working on an interactive map that has points of interest and business locations. We have different categories of content that we'll be putting out, an opportunity for hotels to have special offers and packages that they want to put out there, and as well as upcoming events, latest news, our social media feed. And so I just wanted to show you around a couple of the pages here. When it comes to hotels, we've aggregated all of the hotels in here. So you can see, for example, like you can click into, say, the Montage, and it can open up more information about the Montage with a photo gallery and more information here. So this will be done for all the businesses. And then you can see we have different categories of, you know, under things to do. So arts and culture, you know, drink, food, outdoor adventure, that will pull in information about each of them. We'll have a pretty robust events page as well, with a calendar view of things coming up that we're continuing to plug in. And then, you know, always keeping up to date with news. You know, I'm sure everybody was aware of the USA Today 10 Best Public Square, which was great for Healdsburg. A lot of articles that are coming out. We'll have a contact page for people to sign up for our email newsletter. And then up here, we have some other links to, you know, over to the chamber, you know, a weddings page, people that are interested in group meetings. There's a form that will, you know, people can fill out if they're interested in planning, you know, how to get here. So we're continuing to build out a lot of content on this site, but, you know, really what we're excited about is the, you know, looking at the Google Analytics and the interest of where people were going, putting a lot more content on the site, allowing them to deeper dive and spend more time on the site, and then eventually choose that hotel booking. Will just continue to drive engagement with the brand. So that's what I have for you guys. Does anybody have any questions? Or Brooke, did I miss anything that you wanted to touch on?
No, I think that was perfect. Just to kind of from the hotel side, and working with not only JNS Next, but also Bread and Butter, the PR agency, just the interest and the demand out there for destinations like Healdsburg is incredible, and exciting to see such a quick return. From the hotel side, you know, Hotel Trio is a part of the Marriott brand of hotels, and an article that was just released, Marriott reported a Q1 profit of $377 million. So a lot of excitement surrounding that and surrounding the return. US and Canada for Q1 were about 14.5% down to 2019 numbers, but last month in April, they reported that they had met 2019 numbers. So we're anticipating that throughout the rest of the year, we will not only meet, but exceed 2019 numbers. And 2019 was a really great year for us personally in Healdsburg and for a lot of the Marriott brands. Hilton brands also reporting similar increases, and just dramatic demand, and especially to destinations such as Healdsburg. I went with David to the Visit California Forum in San Francisco in February, and it was, you know, a lot of intel and a lot of insight for us about the demand and about the travelers and about what their interests are going to be moving forward. A lot of focus on experiences. People have been holed up at home, not able to travel, and their length of stay is growing. We're seeing that here at Trio, you know, from between 2 and 3 days length of stay to now almost 4 to 5 days length of stay. So that's incredible. People are coming, they're staying longer, and a lot more interest in exploring the destination, going to the restaurants for us, going on hikes, going to visit the wineries, things like that. So we're really excited that meetings are coming back, and Visit California for the first time ever has launched a meetings campaign. They're expecting another $95 million in June, I think they said, that will go into their campaigns, one of which is the meetings campaign that had been launched. So that's something that was very needed. I mean, that was a segment of travel that really impacted a lot of hotels, especially for us being so close to, you know, Silicon Valley and the Bay Area. When all of those companies went remote and stopped business travel, we saw a huge loss from that. So seeing that come back, group meetings are back. The booking window is becoming increasingly shorter. I got an inquiry last week for a meeting for 2 nights for 22 guest rooms plus meeting space for the 4th and 5th of May. So for the very next week. So it's incredible what's happening. It's exciting. We had a very, very, very ambitious budget for 2022, and we are meeting it. So great to see all the new development in Healdsburg in terms of new restaurants and new hotels opening, and what that will contribute to the local economy, other businesses, and the TOT generated by that.
There's also a great national campaign called Hospitality is Working that's really showing how much tourism and hospitality gives back to the community and is important. So that's something that we're following at the national level.
That's great. Do we have Mr. Farmer? Is he available now?
Yes. How you doing, guys? Hi, Mark.
Good.
Okay.
Hi.
Yeah, nice to see everybody. Hi, David. Great website, by the way. It looks awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I second what Brooke's saying. Basically, we've had our best first 2 quarters ever this year. It's been incredible, the demand. The bookings look really strong throughout the year. What's really struck me, though, is the increase in the average daily rate, which has been something I didn't anticipate, upwards of 20%, not just us, but across the market. So, and we're not getting really much pushback on those rates. So I think that will probably level off, but that's been quite a nice surprise for us. But yeah, we anticipate another great quarter coming up, and it's going to be a good year in Healdsburg. Just a little anecdote. I was at a trade show in San Francisco. I think it was in February, and big show, get to meet a lot of people, kind of a come up to a booth type format. And it seemed like everybody I spoke to knew about Healdsburg. So it was, for me, that was amazing, because I think all these marketing efforts that we're doing through HGID and all these other outlets is really paying off. So I just want to thank everybody for that. And yeah, just going to be a great year. I'm excited. Thanks.
Yeah, it's been one of those things where it's hard to keep track of too. I mean, like for your site, David, we have restaurants that have come and gone, and I think it's hard keeping up with them. I know, to keep them on the site as well. That's great news. Anybody have any questions for the group here, for David or Brooke?
I believe there was one in the chat as well from Larry. He wanted to know, is the outdoor activities page built out yet on the new website?
It is not, but it should be within like the next week, Larry. And Brooke and team will be working with HGID and probably the chamber to look through those pages as well, just to make sure everything that needs to be included is included.
It's not quite live yet, Larry, but it'll all be built out before.
Yeah.
I had a question about kind of along the same lines about outdoor. I think we've seen a huge uptick in cycling, whether that's because of some of the events that are coming back, Levi's Grand Fondo that just came back with thousands of people coming to Sonoma County. And I've noticed that we're not hosting any of those either starts or finishes or events in Healdsburg. And I was wondering, but neighboring cities like Windsor are. And I was curious, are we, in some of those, the meetings kind of outreach that you're all doing and marketing, are we looking at some of those kind of cycling, hiking, running events as opportunities to capture those audiences, or the cyclist community who seems to drive up here, park in front of our houses, go cycling for the day, and then drive home, but they're not staying overnight. How to convert those into overnight stays.
Definitely, if I may, it's definitely something that we are always discussing. I know Jason works a lot with some cycling groups, and I think ADR plays a part in that. From our perspective, typically that segment of travel is looking for a little bit more of an affordable price and over peak season weekends. So it can be challenging, but it's definitely something that we are always trying to attract.
Sometimes it depends on the meeting space as well that they need or what the group needs. So it's very specific to where they're headed, where they're going, what activities they want to do, and then what surrounds them. So we can bid out on groups. We're also working closely with Sonoma Valley Tourism because ourselves and Sonoma Valley are not part of the SCT group. It has always been like that. We both feel like we have destinations that pretty much promote themselves in a healthier way, just separate from SCT, because they have such different areas with larger conference space, like the Doubletree in Rohnert Park and so forth. So we are actually having a meeting with them and hopefully by the end of May to talk about even continuing what you're speaking of, Vice Mayor, and hiring someone to just go out and do groups and leisure meetings for us. So we'll see if that comes to fruition in the next year.
And with David's help, we've really been able to market and engage events and companies, because typically Healdsburg doesn't have the infrastructure like Talia just spoke of in terms of meeting space or restaurant facilities that can accommodate 80 to 100 people, like some of our neighboring cities and Napa Valley certainly can. So working together to market Healdsburg as a whole, including all of the hotel rooms and meeting space, Montage having the largest to date, and then working with other winery partners and things like that, where we can actually host dining events that can accommodate groups of that size.
All right, anybody else out there? If not, I want to thank everybody, one, for everything you're doing. It's wonderful. I actually didn't have knowledge of the full depth of all the marketing. You see the effect of it, and it's been great. But knowing that somebody's out there doing it in such a professional manner and keeping the interests of Healdsburg out there and above everything it's wonderful. So thank you, everybody, for puts that together and who operates it. Anybody else with any questions out there? If not, we're going to jump over to the update from City Council. And I understand that David and Evelyn have a couple things for us. Maybe we start with you, David, if you're ready.
Sure. So I'll just give a quick update on what's been going on at the council level. A couple of things at the last council meeting. I'll get into some of the exciting things. We did have a little bit of an eventful meeting. First, on consent, it kind of slid under the radar, but we authorized, as a council, we always authorize the purchase of equipment. We have a policy related to electric vehicles, but in that included in the consent calendar 3 F-150 electric trucks to start converting our fleet to electric, and that's pretty exciting, but not quite enough to pull it and stretch out the meeting longer. So I left it on consent, but I did want to bring it up here because it is an exciting thing. We also approved for Prune Packers games, you'll be able to get I think up to 2 beers per game, but no more after the 7th inning, and also approved alcohol at the FFA buyer's dinner, which is a traditional thing, and make sure everybody attends that. Then we had a discussion on cannabis. We're still working on that process. We were presented with a couple of different options that had various bubbles on potential locations that might work, how far from this, how far from that. Council gave feedback to staff, so they'll come back to us at a later time with kind of a refined kind of map of potential approved locations. And then we also gave direction on on for them to come back with draft language for a ballot measure in November on tax that kind of gives a range between 2% and 8%. We've seen a lot of cities in different areas come out with a high tax rate, and then that has an impact. So this gives kind of a range. We'll keep it simple. So 2% to 8%. So that should be on the November ballot if it finally gets approved. We also had a discussion about automated license plate readers, basically what we have for the parking enforcement right now that reads the license plates, but to have those placed on, we have really 5 entrances and exits to Healdsburg. And we've had a lot of issues with catalytic converter thefts. We've had some shootings. I think you recall last year we had some spot fires that were kind of being lit all over town. And this kind of technology would have been helpful. And there was a discussion on that. Council approved the allocation of the funds to be included in the budget. But before it's implemented, we requested that the police chief come back with the final policy so that the community has a better understanding, because clearly anything like this, we had this when we had the discussion about the drone use, and also our parking, when we converted to the parking vehicle that has a license plate reader, related to privacy, who has access to the information, how long it's retained, and all that information. So there was a pretty lively discussion, and that'll come back, and that'll get, we'll make sure that word gets out so people can participate and really understand the item when it comes back to us. And then finally, the meeting ended with, I think at this point you've read where our 5th council member resigned. And so on Monday, May 16th, we'll probably have an agenda item discussing options. It'll be similar to what we had 2 years ago, almost exactly 2 years ago, when we were presented with a number of options. And if you recall, one, you call a special election, leave the seat vacant. The other is call a special election, appoint for a short term, or what we did last time was the third option was appoint for the remainder of the vacated term. And so we'll have that discussion. Hey, Ozzy, he's waving. So we'll have that discussion at that meeting, and following that meeting, depending on what council decides, we'll have more information, definitely some outreach, and yeah, I've been getting text messages, and I'm sure everybody else has too. So stay tuned. But May 16th, that Monday meeting, the regular council meeting, that will be the one that'll kind of get direction on what we're doing there. I also wanted to highlight a couple other things. So next Monday, this is really important, on the 9th, we're going to be doing a budget study session, and we'll be covering the general fund, Measure T, Measure S, and community services funds. So that's a real important meeting to tune into. I know, Talia, we've talked in the past about some of the budget things, and there's some interest from the chamber. So this is a heads up. Agenda usually is coming out late Wednesday night, and we now have, we've had, and I posted on my my social media page is a way that you can sign up so you can get agendas emailed to you. And I think they go at the same time we get them. So you have a chance to review. And if there's anything that's of interest to you, you can hone in on that and be prepared for the council meeting to offer feedback. And then finally, we have tomorrow is a big day here in Healdsburg as we come together. First, there's going to be a mass for Chief Burke at 11 a.m. at St. John, followed by a celebration of life on the Healdsburg Plaza at noon. And Evelyn, did you have more to add on that?
No, not really at this point.
Maybe Ozzy can talk about that one when you're done.
Okay.
But go ahead on the. I'm done with mine, so I'll turn it over to you, Evelyn, for the report from Jeff.
Well, oh, thank you. I think you've covered most of the information that makes sense to that we know about at this point, and clearly the resignation of Councilmember Palacios is top of everybody's mind, and what we're going to do to fill that seat. This will be the second time I've had this in my 1 year term, my first term on council. So I have some experience with it. So does David. I think he has had 2 so far. So at least we've got some experience. I guess that's a good thing. Depends on your point of view, right? But also, like as David mentioned, the budget is really critical. We're going to have that meeting on Monday, and I think Talia asked if there'll be public room for public comment. Absolutely, there always is. So yes, we will do that. And then after that, we will also be doing another study session for the budget on May 31st, with the intention of approving the budget at the June 6th meeting. We would have one last meeting in June if we are not able to come to an agreement on the June 6th date. So to kind of continue to refine and change if we need to. So I think that's really critical for everyone. You know, the budget is going to be a reflection of our goals, right? So whatever the goals that we set, we're going to now figure out a way to pay for them. So, you know, so that's critical to get everybody's input on that as well. Because we're going to have the discussion about the appoint or elect or whatever to do with the 5th council seat on this next coming meeting, a few things are going to be pushed off of that agenda because it was already pretty packed. So the housing element policy, I think, is going to be moving to the last meeting in May. Instead of, the first meeting in June. This is the last meeting in May. So because it was really, we already have a pretty packed agenda with that. We were going to do the housing element, the financial update, park naming policy, and update on the Villa Chanticleer. So those are all pretty meaty topics. So we're gonna have to push some off to be able to have this other topic get the attention that it needs. And we have 60 days to decide, is my understanding. So it's not a lot of time to figure out what to do. So we need to get on it. And I don't know how many people went to, there was a viewing last night at St. John's for Chief Burke, and we went to that. It was pretty moving, just that. So I think Friday is going to be something that we're all going to kind of enjoy at one point, to be able to say goodbye to Chief, but at this and celebrate his life. But it's also, of course, extremely sad that he's gone. So I just lost it when I got out of the church yesterday. So it's going to be emotional, I can tell you that. So, but I think there's going to be, Ozzy, if you want to talk about maybe what the plans are, because I know you're involved more than I am in those. So I'll just turn this over to our mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Mitchell, and thank you to my fellow council members for the update. It was very thorough. You know, just kind of on the other side of what we've been working on for Chief Burke is that there's many in the community that feel a sense of honoring his legacy. And so Councilmember Mitchell, former Mayor Gary Ploss, former Housing Director Karen Massey, our Police Chief Matt Jenkins, and our City Manager all got together in the weeks after the passing of Chief Burke. And so we've been in coordination with the SRJC Foundation to establish a scholarship fund in his memory. And so I just kind of want to go over some language with the scholarship fund to be succinct. And so each recipient of the Chief Kevin Burke Scholarship Fund shall receive a biography of Chief Burke's life, his work, and his contributions to this community. Each recipient will be encouraged to do a ride-along with our Healdsburg Police Department so that they can learn about our city and help encourage students enrolled at the police academy to work for our police department in the future. The focus would be initially for students enrolled at the police academy. And once our goal is reached, the scholarships will also be offered to the Ranger and Corrections Academy. The goal of the fund is $100,000 to start the fund. So it lives in perpetuity at the Santa Rosa Junior College Foundation. And then once the $100,000 endowment is created, the return would distribute 3 scholarships of $1,000 each annually. And then once we've exceeded that goal, donations received beyond the goal will go towards additional scholarships, the ones that I kind of just mentioned. And so I'll be sharing the link here in the chat. Talia and I have already been in conversation about messaging this through the chamber. And then you'll see messaging coming through the city of Healdsburg as well. So just want to let you folks know, we've activated on this. I think it's really meaningful. People are still reeling from what happened. And so I think this is a great opportunity for us to, in a meaningful way, honor his legacy. And I really hope to see you all tomorrow. I know it's going to be a difficult time for all of us, but we'll all be in what we call the Healdsburg living room. I know we've all kind of say it in many different ways, but we'll be there together. And so I look forward to seeing you all. We'll be having comments from our city attorney, from Chief Matt Jenkins, and from some family members. I believe that there'll be around 300 seats on the plaza. So I welcome you all to attend tomorrow. So that's my update with the Scholarship Fund. Thank you.
Thank you, Ozzy.
Ozzy, I've got a quick question, and thank you so much for providing the information. We did send it out already, and we'll continue to do so. I was just curious what $1,000 typically would cover, in terms of, is it specific to a law enforcement degree? Just a few of the specifics. I know, college is so expensive right now, and looking for my own daughter who's only 14, and just curious what that would cover, and if we need to make sure we're getting more into that fund.
Yeah, sure. So the scholarship would be focused around the uniforms for individuals enrolled at the academy. So a uniform typically is around $1,000. Once an individual is halfway through the academy, there's two modules that they can choose from, but once they're enrolled halfway through the academy, typically a department's already kind of solicited employment for them. So individual department will pay for the uniform, but this would be to pay for half of the uniform, right? And then once, for example, like if we're able to raise $200,000, then we would convene back with the SRJC, and there's a flexibility within our contract with them on how we can better define, what exceeding the amount would do for the Ranger and/or Corrections Academy.
Yeah.
Great, thank you very much.
I assume since it's an endowment, you're working with what you're anticipating the return to be and trying to divide that up into scholarships.
Exactly.
Yeah. Ariel, have you got anything you would like to add?
No, I think everything was pretty thorough from my fellow council members, and great to see everyone this morning.
Okay, great. Well, it's one of those rare times where we have a few minutes for kind of an open mic. If there's anybody else out there that has something that they like to bring to our attention or want to mention, you're available to do so. If you can either raise a hand or just, go ahead and jump on here. I can ask, let's see, Eric, Drew, you got something?
Yeah, I'll just add a reminder. It's a point and topic. Tom Bangs, who designed and built the Riverbell Hotel 11-room bed and breakfast in Isabel Haig's historic home, has decided to sell that, and we have that for sale and very strong interest. And the rates have all reflected, just as Brooke said, are trending upward very strongly. There's huge interest from other local operators as well as out-of-town operators in the property. It's fairly priced for what it's got, and I put a link if anybody's interested in more details. I put a link in the chat room. But if you haven't been through it, it's a beautiful place and one of the very few properties that our guests can really reach out and look at the Russian River. It is right on the river. So.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you, Eric. Alan, every once in a while, you've got anything you want to bring up? If not.
Sorry about that. I don't know if you can hear me or not. My camera's completely out, but yeah, no, there's nothing really going on. I'm just, the one thing that has been happening is the Alexander Valley Film Festival is going on. They've done an amazing job with their programming this year. They're doing just great work with inclusion and equity programming. So if you haven't checked out, the last weekend is coming up. So if you are interested in tickets or see something, we're a sponsor, so we might be able to help out with tickets, but would love to see you at the movies. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Alan. All right. Anybody else?
Yeah, so we at the Chamber, we have our Sip and Shop event coming up. We did this back in November and everyone seemed to have a great time. And so we're doing it again on May 13th. We have 17 different stops around town, some really fun businesses, as well as some fun wineries. And we have 2 breweries and a distillery who's pouring as well this time. So it's been a great chance to showcase some of our businesses who aren't necessarily right in the walking corridor of Healdsburg and bring them out so that everyone can taste while also supporting our local businesses. I know Larry will be there. He'll have a table over at Craftwork. So stop by and visit him. A lot of the businesses are giving some special discounts to ticket holders, and wineries are giving out tasting cards as well to encourage people to go to the tasting rooms. We're also doing a flash sale right now for 10% off tickets through tomorrow at 11:59. So grab your tickets and promote it to all of your audiences as well.
It also coincides with the annual sidewalk sale. So it's sort of the kickoff to the sidewalk sale for the retailers.
Great. Thank you. Anybody else?
Mark?
Yes.
I was surprised that you didn't mention the ribbon cutting at Little Saint. Is that still scheduled for Monday? Jessica?
Yes, we have it scheduled for next Friday, actually, the 13th.
Friday. Okay, great.
Yes,
Thank
it's
you.
earlier in the morning. So we're doing a ribbon cutting at 11 a.m. on Friday, May 13th for Little Saint. And then the following Friday, May 20th, W Real Estate is opening their Healdsburg office. So that'll be at 1 p.m. If anybody would like to join, send me an email or a chat and I can add you to our calendar invite.
Great.
Thank you.
Great.
I also wanted to note that June 1st and 2nd, the Chamber will be taking a small delegation to the Legislative Summit at the Capitol in Sacramento. So if you are interested in joining us, just shoot me an email and I can provide details. Most likely we'll be attending the breakfast lunch forum with a variety of speakers, and then also potentially meeting with a few of our local legislators. So I just wanted to let everyone know if you're interested.
Of course, there's a caution that if you do indicate your interest or you're not already on the council, you could be looked at as that appointee. So worry about that, right? Yeah, Ozzy, did you have something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, coming around the corner, it's June Pride Month. So the city manager and I are working on getting some dates out to individuals around our flag raising ceremony that we had last year. So I know I just want to make sure that you folks are aware that that's coming next month as well.
Great. Thank you very much. All right. Anybody else got anything out there? I'd ask Aaron, but I don't want to, we only got 10 minutes left. So anyway, I want to thank everybody. Wait, before we go, Talia, anything else from the chamber that we should know about for the next coming month?
No, not at the moment. We just hope that you all continue to get involved. I would say, we're not running it, but the continued support of food and wine. I know we all want Healdsburg to show well during that. And so it looks like we're getting pretty booked and full, and just continued support of everything that's going on at the city. So we look forward to talking to everyone about the budget and all of the things coming up.
When is the food and wine event?
May 20th.
21st or something like that? Yeah.
Yeah, May 20th.
Okay, great.
And Jessica put the ribbon cutting in the chat as well.
Great. Okay. Anybody else out there? If not, I want to thank everybody for attending. It's always great to have you. And one of the nice parts about the city of Healdsburg is we can have this meeting and all the attendance that we do get. So I look forward to seeing you guys next month. Thank you very much. See you later.
Thank you.